network for Detroit, by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
All right, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network, live, woodwardsports.com. As always, you can check the show out after, of course, depending on where you listen to your podcasts. You can do it on Apple Podcasts. You can find it on Spotify. Wherever you find podcasts, you'll find Jeff. And again, you have to look at his hair this morning, give him a 5-star review, and let him know that it's going to be okay. One day it will be back, buddy.
Thank you.
You're so close.
Thank you.
You're getting there.
Appreciate the thoughts and prayers.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Yesterday, I know it was an interesting day. Jamal Williams finally got announced where he was going. And again, we knew something was up once you started seeing guys sign before Jamal. Like, something was up. I don't know whether it was the price he was asking for or just simply Brad wanted to go in a different direction. I don't know what it was. But it was funny seeing on Twitter, everyone's like, what? Brad Holmes couldn't have paid that for Jamal? It's like, no, he probably could have. He just wanted a better back in David Montgomery, I would assume. Well, or you'd never know. Jamal might have been asking for too much, and his price went down because he saw what the market looked like. So I don't know.
You know, that's a conversation we get to start the show with. 8:15 coming up. We'll get to Jalen Carter. And I'm just saying, we've been talking about one specific player for so long now. And nobody wants to acknowledge it. But Jalen Carter, are you concerned? His tape, everything that came out from his pro day was pathetic. That is basically a job interview. And we'll get to that at 8:15. At 8:30, we'll take your calls on it. What do you guys think? Are you taking Jalen Carter if he's still there at 6? Which, at this point, it's looking very likely. Do you draft him? You call, you tell us yes, and why. 8:45. Look, we talk a lot about draft strategy and what the Lions can do, should do, but to me, I think trade back scenario is all but dead. It's all but dead unless somebody loves Anthony Richardson, which I haven't heard yet. So we got to talk about realistically what's going to happen in the upcoming NFL draft. 9 o'clock, of course, this is where it gets fun. Updated odds after free agency. The Lions still the favorites, and not only the favorites, based on the odds, you could say they are the considerable favorites in the North. And it's not even close.
And honestly, it improves by the day, it seems like. Aaron Rodgers now announcing where he's going, sticking with the Jets, obviously. Yep. The odds just keep getting better at him. Yeah,
we'll get to Aaron Rodgers and everything else around the NFL. Kenny Golladay getting released at 9:15. And then the rest of the show, we're just going to have a good time with all of you. So we'll get the show started. Jamal Williams signing with the New Orleans Saints. And you know what? I'll be honest. When I saw the original report, I said, good. Goodbye. No problem. No hard feelings. Thank you. Then I saw the contract. And I won't lie, shocked that it wasn't more than Montgomery. But if that was his market, I'm very curious what he was asking the Lions for. Or to me, he played the wrong game.
Right.
I wouldn't be shocked if he got the same or similar offer that David Montgomery got, but he was holding out for more. And then realized there wasn't a market for a goal line running back who averages 4 yards a carry that no one's really interested in. That's aging, mind you. So after all that, to me, I was just laughing. And not laughing at Jamal, or I was more so laughing at all of you at home, especially the ones that, Jamal is the heart and soul of this team. What are we going to do without him? We should have paid him what David Montgomery got. Oh my God, Adam. God, if I showed you my DMs and mentions yesterday, the amount of people crying like a bunch of bitches over a semi-productive football player. I've never seen it in my life. Never seen it in my life. Calvin didn't get this kind of reception. Unbelievable.
Well, he's a fan favorite, and in previous years, previous regimes might have overpaid for guys like that, fan favorites. But this is a different regime. Brad Holmes is operating differently, and you're only worth as much as somebody will pay you. So that's what it boils down to. Jamal Williams, he might have been asking for whatever he was asking for, but the fact of the matter is he's worth what he got in New Orleans. So I'm not mad about it. I still believe David Montgomery. I mean, he's a better back. He's younger. He's more elusive. He's got better numbers. Like, he checks a lot of those boxes. He's better. You can use him in the pass game, unlike Jamal as much. So, again, you got the better back for a slight upgrade. So, I don't mind it. And honestly, I think Chuck hit it right on the head because I do believe this is more likely what happened. He said, read something last night that Brad gave him a deadline and he didn't meet it. Because you saw early in the conversations, too, it was being reported Jamal and Brad Holmes or the Lions are not close on a contract, on a number. And then all of a sudden he signs with New Orleans for, dirt cheap. So clearly it wasn't all just money. He wanted the money at some point, but I think looking around as the days went on, he's like, all right, I gotta just deal with what I got left, and that was New Orleans, and he took that deal. So I don't want people to look at that deal and say, "What the Lions could have afforded that? They could have paid him, $3-4 million a year." He might have went down. I mean, you never know. He might have offered Jamal what you offered David Montgomery, and David just took it. So it's a great deal by Brad. I think people just, he's a fan favorite. You watch Hard Knocks, you fall in love with him, and he was productive. But a lot of those traits that you like from Jamal, David Montgomery can do the same thing. A lot of those similar traits. If you talk about leadership, go around the Bears media. Go ask Bears fans how much David Montgomery meant in that locker room. He was huge for them. And again, younger, more productive. Better pass catcher. Like, you could go on. I think Brad, he nailed this one. He really did.
Well, if you look at David Montgomery's deal also, only 11 of it is guaranteed. So it's really 3 years for $11 million if he even gets to the third year. And that's not to say the Lions don't draft a running back this year or next year in the mid to late rounds. So, look, I get it. Jamal Williams, fan favorite, cried on national television after they beat Green Bay at the end of the season. Don't punk us, don't play with us, whatever the hell he said. Went on a national media tour all off season, saying how he's 100% going to stay in Detroit. But then he got hit with the reality, which is, I'm not worth what I think I'm worth or what my agent is telling me I'm worth. And you know what? That's something very, very real, by the way. A good agent, just like a good lawyer, by the way, doesn't tell you what you want to hear. I want 3 years, $21 million, 15 guaranteed. Well, Jamal, that's not what your market is. And I'm going to do my best to get you that. But here are your options. You can stay in Detroit at 3 years at this number, or we can gamble and try to find a better deal somewhere else. And that somewhere else was in New Orleans. I wouldn't say it's a better deal, but that's the harsh reality. Any good lawyer is going to tell you best case and worst case, and they're not going to guarantee anything. So look, I'm not in Jamal's ear. I don't know what the hell is going on. All I know is he can kick rocks. This is the least important player I've seen this town make a fuss over in my life. Look, I get it. He was crying on Hard Knocks. He was crying after the Green Bay game. He was running hard. He was vocal. He was, quote, a leader. Okay, cool. The Bengals just moved off of Jesse Bates. Titans are moving off of Derrick Henry. Ezekiel Elliott was just cut.
Yep, Austin Eckler is getting traded.
Austin Eckler is getting dealt.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders just left the Philadelphia Eagles.
Dalvin Cook might have to leave too.
Dalvin Cook might have to leave. The
Yep.
market for running backs is chaotic.
It's a carousel.
Oh, and by the way, around the NFL, if the Bengals can move on from Jesse Bates, if the Kansas City Chiefs can move on from Tyreek Hill, you can move on from Jamal Williams. It's not that serious.
I love this comment too. WoodwardSports.com. Bruce Bedrock says, reminds me of Dennis Schroeder turning down $80 million from the Lakers to sign for the league minimum. That was another great moment, too.
No, I think that was so much worse.
Oh, it is. But I'm just saying, think about that for a second, guys that make bad business decisions, probably from their agent.
You know what the Jamal Williams thing is, by the way?
What's up?
I know exactly what it is. It is the same situation when the Boston Celtics were guilt-tripped into feeling bad for an undersized guard who averaged 29 points a game for 1 year, jacking up fucking horrible shots. And everybody felt bad for Isaiah Thomas. Oh my goodness, he dropped the bag. Oh my goodness. Oh, they're not going to pay him because he hurt himself and his sister and all this stuff. It was all a bunch of shit. He was an average player at best who had 1 good year. Jamal Williams, an average player at best who had a good year behind the best offensive line arguably in the NFC. Outside of what? San Francisco?
And I'm not trying to belittle his statistics. But hold on. But a lot of those touchdowns...
My dead grandmother could have scored those touchdowns.
How many of those touchdowns... I don't know the stat off the top of my head, but how many of those touchdowns were from like the 1 yard line? That's the question. Because I think a majority of them were. So a little inflated. I think David Montgomery running behind this offensive line is going to be productive. So I love it. I do. I'm going to miss Jamal. Love him as a character. But again, we're talking business. Brad nailed it.
Montgomery does not come here without his flaws.
Of course.
Okay?
Yep.
If you just want to look clearly at the numbers tell 2 different stories. You can look at the yards per carry and be concerned and say, whoa, does this make sense? But then you can also look at how many yards he hits before contact compared to Jamal Williams this past season. It's not even close. David Montgomery is having to make defensive tackles, defensive ends, and linebackers miss just to get the 2, 3, 4 yards. Jamal, it's a much different case than any running back behind this offensive line. So I would keep that in mind along with his ability to break tackles, which is up there tied for first in the NFL with Nick Chubb.
But you got to think, too, Adam, he played in an offense where it was never really a passing threat. Like, they knew what the Bears wanted to do when you faced them. They want to run the football. At least the Lions with Jared Goff, like, they can air it out as well. So a little more of an offense harder to guess or predict. So for David Montgomery, he'll benefit from that. Like, having Jared Goff, having the weapons, having this offensive line. It's just a better situation for any running back. Like, hell, that's why we talk about drafting a running back, because any guy who comes into this situation immediately gets better. You just want to sign the most talented back, and to me, David Montgomery is just simply more talented than Jamal Williams. He's more of a weapon.
And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but I also think there is a bit of a false expectation in town with David Montgomery. You need a backup running back in Detroit, not because DeAndre Swift isn't phenomenal when available. But that's the key word, when available. So, for example, Steve this morning says, David Montgomery, 1,500 yards this season. Well, look, David, with all due respect, that's about 85 yards a game.
That's really good.
For 17 games. And that's among the top 5 leading rushers last season in the NFL. I don't think that's going to be David Montgomery. You're talking 20 carries at 4.1, 4.3 yards a clip a game. That's not going to happen. Jamal didn't even get that. I don't think his workload will allow him to get 1,500 yards. To me, the numbers don't matter for me. The numbers are how many tackles is he breaking? How many first downs is he running for? How many yards per carry does he average on first down? What's our conversion rate on third and short, fourth and short? Yeah,
that's the big one, too.
That's what I'm looking for. And you know what? The receiving aspect of it, really great. Actually really excited for it. And it keeps the Lions offense a bit more unpredictable because when Jamal was in, let's be honest, you were either running the ball or going for heavy play action. Okay. David Montgomery's a pass-catching threat. So now I got to account for him, Jameson Williams, Josh Reynolds, a tight end, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. And we'll see what the Lions do at wide receiver. DJ Chark moving on. There's a lot of interest elsewhere in the league. I don't think there is a, quote, need to draft a wide receiver early. I think you can go settle for a veteran wide receiver. But then again, Josh Reynolds, to me, is just fine.
Yeah, he's a good 3.
Because he has rapport. He's a good 3. And if you're banking on Jameson Williams being your 2 this year, Is it worth the risk? Who knows? We'll see what Brad Holmes does. But to me, it all makes sense. David Montgomery in this offense will be much more productive. I think you can bank on that than he was in Chicago.
Before we go to break, too, just to mention this, kind of seeing how DJ Chark, his free agency journey is going, he's going to get paid somewhere. So you're going to have to. Their Lions are going to have to start planning how they're going to address that.
See the Mosley deal that the Lions put together? That was the Chark deal that they did last year.
Right.
It's a 1-year prove-a deal coming off an injury. You're probably going to want to go elsewhere after with us and get paid if you do well. That's the reality.
Like Chark will.
Chark's going to go get a 3-year deal
maybe
somewhere.
Giants
for probably $30 million, $28 million.
Yeah.
It wouldn't shock me.
Maybe they draft one. We'll see.
All right, let's take a break. When we get back, Jalen Carter, Pro Day.
Yeah.
We have a lot to talk about for the next half hour. 8:30, we're going to take your calls. But there are a few things in life, guys, that are unacceptable. And we'll talk about it next. But before we go, I got to tell you about my good friends over at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10/8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. No appointment necessary. Their awesome stylists will take care of you like they always take care of me. I am definitely due, my goodness God, for a haircut and a beard trim. I look like a goddamn grizzly bear, but that's why I go to Lady Jane's. No appointment necessary. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's. It's wicked awesome.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
Oh yeah, WoodwardSports.com, Home Bracket Challenge, Gardner White, you heard about it too? Be on the way like me, Lazy Boy section. It's this way. It's almost tournament time, so you know what that means. Go to WoodwardSports.com, sign up now for the Bracket Challenge, because you might be able to win some of these Lazy Boys or $1,000. You never know. I'm just saying. See you there. Gardner White, the only local Michigan furniture store. You gotta come check them out. Lazy Boy, that's my section.
Actually a nice morning, by the way. I don't know how you guys felt this morning. I woke up. It was a little chilly, but you know what? March 16th.
Sun's peeking
40
through.
degrees outside. Sun hasn't come out yet. You know, I didn't mind the weather this morning. We're almost at the spring. It's a good time of the year.
See, I do the walk every morning across Woodward, and depending, I know how the day's gonna go, how I feel walking. Like if it's freezing and I'm miserable, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna stink. But today I felt great. It wasn't too cold. The sun was a little bit out, so it's a great morning. I like this weather. Now, can we stay away from the snow? Is the big one. Can we move forward?
Look, let's all be real. We live in Michigan. That's totally unpredictable. But what really shocked me, and shocked probably isn't the best word. I would say disappointed me, was Jalen Carter at his pro day. Not just because how sluggish he looked and how slow and how unathletic he looked. But that's a job interview.
Yeah.
That is the final stage of your job interview where you can land a multi-million-dollar job. And he managed to cost himself millions and millions of dollars. And I don't know his circle. I'm not in his camp. I'm not sure what's been going on the last month or two where he's gained 9 pounds and showed up to the most important day outside of the combine and the draft of his young professional career. I'm not sure what the lead up was, but I'm out.
That was bad.
That to me isn't like a Laramie Tunsil situation where the pot image comes out hours, the day of the draft, I think is what happened that year, where he falls. This to me, how do you not show up to the most important day of your life ready for action? That's like you having a job interview, showing up for the final exit the final stage of the interview, and you show up in a white beater, underwear, no socks, no shoes, and you smell like garbage. What are you doing? You had everything in front of you. You nailed the first part. You played very well in college. The tape is really good. Nobody really had character concerns.
Right.
While you were at Georgia. And now this? Look, from what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have always said, they have their certain kind of guy. I'm not sure if they're willing to move off of that foundational process. But if you have to take, and hear me very clearly here, not only if you have to, but if you're going to take an interior lineman.
Say it.
Kalijah Kancey is the option at 6. I know a lot of you aren't comfortable with it. I know a lot of you think he'll be there at 18. I'm telling you right now, that is the kid. That is the mold. Education off the roof, off the charts, Intangibles off the charts. Carried a horrible Pittsburgh defense on his back. Uber productive in college. No character flaws. High work ethic. He checks the boxes. Who else are you going to get at 6? Tyree Wilson. And we'll get to this, by the way, at 8:45. Because I don't think you can trade back. Unless you're going to trade back to the mid-teens. Which is not ideal in my opinion.
No.
So we'll get to that at 8:45. But Jeff, what the fuck?
Yeah, this is concerning. Jalen Carter's made a name for himself. I mean, he was widely regarded as the #1 player in this draft. And then you see things like this, the workout. And it's one thing, again, we don't have to revisit the situation, but when the news broke and, he got criticized and rightfully so, and he got in trouble for that. And you could question somebody's character or what they do off the field, right? You brought up Laramie Tunsil. That's another situation. With this, though, not only can you question maybe things off the field, but now we're questioning things on the field. We're questioning what he's doing. And if you watch the video, it's bad. Like, he looked cramping. He looked completely cramped up. He looked slow, sluggish, overweight. I think it was said he was gained 9 pounds. Like, once the off the field stuff, the distractions, the not being focused, once that creeps onto on the field production or simply just what you look like, that's a huge issue. So for me, with the whole Jalen Carter stuff, I said up here even last week, and I tweeted out a couple weeks ago, Jalen Carter, come to the Detroit Lions. Well, after seeing this stuff, it does not look likely. And if you look at what Brad and Dan look for in players, it's not that. Because the big thing about Aiden last year, drafting him #2 overall, what was the #1 thing they loved about Aiden? His motor. What kind of motor did Jalen Carter have? That's a Prius motor, what he was displaying at the pro day. Like, that was disappointing. So, no, I would say at this point, Jalen Carter, I don't think he's the option. I don't, and that's tough because I don't want to draft a player that you have to worry about consistently. Because me and Stick sat up here. I think it was a day after the situation happened, and we talked. And the big thing we discussed was, well, if he's remorseful and he learns from this situation, I'm okay with it because we know the talent he has on the field. But when you see something like a pro day like that, come on. Not only just off the field now, Adam. We're talking about on the field. There's concerns. It's real. It really is.
I just, for the life of me, will never understand how, as a young adult, which they're young, right? They're young men, how you haven't positioned yourself to understand you have millions and millions of dollars, generational wealth at stake. All you have to do is maintain shape, perform to standard or above standard at your pro day, show off your best qualities, interview well, and you are going to land a contract that'll take care of your family for the rest of your life. And now we're talking about him falling from 4, from 5, from 6, all the way to Chicago potentially at 9, or maybe even the mid-teens. We're talking about millions and millions of dollars. I'm disappointed for him, not in him,
right? For
him.
A guy in his position, too, you get drafted, you are the immediate breadwinner of your family. You are the unquestioned leader. Jalen Rose talked about this, too, when he was talking about John Morant. It's a huge responsibility. And what I mean by motor, and people are commenting, well, Jeff, you watch him at Georgia, he has a high motor. I'm not talking about on the field in games, right? I'm talking about if your job is to show up to pro day ready, and you can't even do that, how can you not question his motor or his commitment to football? That's the question I have. That's your pro day. And all the stuff came out about, the car wreck and you being involved in the misdemeanors, and you show up to your pro day looking like that and you perform like that.
And then the footage of him doing 85 or 89, in a 45.
Like that's,
and the cop let him go because they didn't want the news to break that Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
That's a problem. Again, has a ton of talent. There's a reason why he was the number one player in the draft, because you watch him at Georgia this year. He was dominant on one of probably the most dominant defense. But I'm talking about his commitment. For him to show up like that, it's concerning. If you're taking this guy at 6, Adam, you need full trust that you can trust this man when he leaves the field, when he leaves your facility.
Jeff. You're 22.
Yes.
Turning 22. No, you are 22.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turning 23 in a couple months.
So realistically, you've been alive, vividly remembering probably 8, 9, 10 at the most NFL drafts in your lifetime.
Yeah.
Vividly, as a young teenager to an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In my lifetime, very similar to yours, this happens every year. Sometimes with mid to late first round prospects, later round prospects, and sometimes some of the best prospects. Micah Parsons a few years ago, it came out that he was hazing some teammates, character issues. Did just fine.
But he always showed up in shape.
I know. I'm going to get to that.
And he crushed his pro day.
But I've also seen a handful of players in my lifetime who are one of the better prospects, tape off the charts, they have all the qualities, but then they show up overweight, or they underperform at the combine, or they don't answer or handle their interviews in the best way, or they get caught up in their posse or their crew. They're not solely focused on being the best football player they can be. I'm not going to sit here and say Jalen Carter does not have a future in the NFL.
Oh, he does.
I'm absolutely not going to say that. He may still end up being the all-pro that many believe he can be. But when you are drafting a player, this is so concerning. Do you want to be the team that drafted Jalen Carter because everybody fell in love with him in college, but he could never get his act together? Do you want to be that team? And I'll tell you what, guys, not many teams want to do that. Not many teams want to take a, quote, chance on a guy when they're in the middle of a rebuild, trying to build and establish their own culture. And it's much easier for teams with an established culture and established winning history to take on these type of players. And yes, make them, I don't want to say line up in a, get them to stand in line, but, that's just how it is. And you can only do it for so long. I'm not saying Jalen Carter's a horrible human being or that he shouldn't be a top 10, top 15 pick. But it is concerning. And when we're talking about the Detroit Lions, the 6th overall pick this year on the defensive side of the ball has to be an all-pro player by his 3rd year, or you are going to have a ton of concerns. Hear me again, by the way. The 6th overall pick has to be in the conversation of an all-pro caliber player by his 3rd year. And if he isn't, you legitimately will have concerns. That applies to Aiden, and that applies to Jeff Okudah when I give him shit all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you like it or not. I don't care where you're drafted. Where does matter at some point.
It does, yeah.
So I don't want to hear it. The Lions are expecting this kid, whoever it is, at 6, to be a difference maker day 1 and to be a potential Pro Bowl all-pro player in the coming years. That's what you want out of these top picks.
Mm-hmm.
So when you show up like a fat ass, 9 pounds overweight, in less than a month to your job interview, and you look like a fucking snail running around.
And it's not just that. That was after all the news and him
huffing and puffing,
yeah.
Can't even breathe. And then I got to deal with all your legal shit. Yeah, I'm not considering you right now. You have a lot of work to do for me to reconsider drafting you at 6th overall right now.
It's concerning that that's Jalen Carter's way to respond to that type of adversity. Like, when bad stuff happens to you, you can't go down worse or get worse. Like, that's what Jalen Carter did. The situation happened, the 2 misdemeanors, and then now he bombs his pro day. It's just... It's not... If you're picking at 6th, you're looking for a foundational franchise player, somebody you can trust. And as talented as Jalen Carter might be, and honestly, the Lions might pass on, they might not. I just don't think he checks a lot of the boxes they're looking for in a player, and it's concerning. It really is. All
right, well, look, we're getting to all of you next. Callers, the phones will be pinned in the chat, Jeff, if you don't mind. 313-552-6322. Make sure you call in. Your thoughts on Jalen Carter. Would you still touch him at 6? What do you need to see for him to change your mind for the good or the worst, really? It's up to you guys. You call in, you give us your questions, you give us your thoughts. Jeff and I will take them all for the next 15-20 minutes. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Cintron.
Let me tell you about them. Cintron is the official energy drink of the Detroit Red Wings, and right now they have an exclusive offer for Woodward sports fans and their limited edition Red Wings 6-pack, only $15 plus free shipping. Head to drinkcintron.com/Woodward and try it today. All 3 delicious Cintron flavors in one: classic sugar-free, and cranberry. That's drinkcintron.com/Woodward.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there.
And that one Lions playoff win in 1991, yeah, Detroit fans were there.
Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Alta, because at Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, Alta Rent has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA, 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
Look, whether you like it or not, and whether I like it or not, you know, we can make fun of guys running around in their underwear trying to impress NFL scouts. Most people just go by the tape. Fine. Whatever makes you happy. But the bare minimum is that, yeah, in your underwear, I kind of expect you to perform. And when you don't, it's actually really discouraging. Like, how? This is the easiest training setup you'll ever have.
Right.
It's not hard to nail. It's much harder to perform on the field than to go and do a drill that you've been doing basically all your life in front of a bunch of scouts. Disappointing. But let's go to the people. We'll start with Chase. Chase, you're on the Morning Woodward Show, buddy. Good morning. What do you got for us, man?
Adam, Jeff, good morning, man. Thanks for taking the call.
Yeah, appreciate you calling.
No problem. I just want to touch on 2 things. Being a lifetime Lions fan, obviously, the hype around this year coming up, man, we're so excited. And the 2 things that I like to talk about is the fact that Brad Holmes wouldn't address the cornerback situation already. Let's not worry about the draft if we do pick up somebody great. But, man, like, picking up 2 guys right off the bat just really gets you going in the right direction. I'm very confident about that, and I want to know how you guys feel about that.
You know, to be honest with you, Chase, I love the Mosley and Sutton signing. It's actually a dream come true. I just wanted one. The fact that he was able to grab 2, and they were both really, really affordable considering their talent, their production level in the NFL. I thought it was great. I think it takes a lot of pressure off of the Lions in the draft. They don't have to force their hand at 6 or at 18 for a corner.
Yeah.
To me, it opens up the board to so many possibilities. And I think saying there's no pressure, to me, that's my key word. There's a lot of pressure off of who they take. Jeff, what do you think?
No, I think you nailed it. To be honest with you, even signing 2 corners, I think it doesn't eliminate the option they could still draft a corner, but still to fill those positions, and you kind of see it trending that way in free agency, them addressing all those positions. But I love it, man. I think Brad, what he signed and who he signed for what the amount was, he hasn't messed it up, Chase. And you know previous regimes, like there'd already be 1 or 2 signings. You're probably scratching your head, but I haven't seen any yet.
Yeah, and a side note, Jeff, I want to say Mosley has that dog in him.
He does.
That dog.
Yes, sir. That's the most important thing, too. And for a guy like Mosley, who is still young, he's been injured, just you give him that DJ Chark deal, that 1-year flyer. If he plays well, great. You get him for a year with that production. If he doesn't, who cares? He can walk in free agency next year. So it's just good GMing. That's what it is, Chase.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they both played at Tennessee together, too, in college.
Yes, sir.
Yes, they did. Yes. I feel
like that's not talked enough either, the camaraderie between them two getting back together.
No, man. I'll agree, and I appreciate the call, Chase. Every position, you want a different kind of player. Quarterback, you want them polished, educated, come from a quality home. Remember what Deion Sanders said? Something very similar to this.
He got a lot of crap for that, too.
Well, the truth is, at corner, I don't want nice guys. I don't want people that aren't uber confident. I need
just a douchebag.
Cold-blooded douchebags that have so much confidence they make me feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
Because that position is so hard to play. You get beat more often than not. That is a man's position at corner, man. I'm all for it. Well done, Chase.
Yeah, appreciate the call, Chase.
Yeah. No problem. Thank you, guys.
Take care, buddy.
Take care.
You know what's funny, actually, is we talk about the 2 corners. You and I, from day one, agreed 6 is a bit of a reach. Not a bit, really a reach for a corner in this year's draft. There is no Sauce. There is no J.C. Horn. Patrick Surtain. Could you get him at 18 at the time before all the signings? You would feel really good about a Joey Porter or a Christian Gonzalez at the time.
Right.
Now that you've signed Cam Sutton and Emmanuel Mosley, it takes a lot of pressure off of the position. And now you hone in on who.
Mm-hmm.
Because you drafted Aiden last year, you're not pressed to get an edge rusher. But you are pressed or pressured to find another really quality player that you can add to the defensive line. 2 different kinds of pressure. Same thing with the Jets. The Jets all those years ago. Robert Saleh shows in, first-time head coach. Douglas, the GM that everybody's really excited for. We need a quarterback. We have the 2nd overall pick. Let's start off on the right foot and draft our guy. Fuck. Pressured into a position instead of the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody doubts Trevor Lawrence. Nobody doubts Joe Burrow. That's different when they come out. But when you force yourself to take a player because of their position, more often than not, you're really flipping a coin, heads or tails, whether or not it's going to work. So let's go to James. James, you're on the morning show. Good morning, buddy. What do you got for us?
Hey, good morning, guys. How's it going?
Always good.
I'd like to agree with you 100%. I'm getting too old. I have socks maybe as old as you guys. I even remember the 5-0 loss against Dallas. And that's too many red flags. That's just a huge one. Just dump them right now. And I like the kid out of Pittsburgh. Get him.
Yep.
Maybe trade up and get the Iowa kid to get a matching rushing edge.
Van Ness, correct?
Like I said, I'm in my 60s now. I don't want to sit around and wait even more.
Look. You know what? To be honest with you, James, the window's now. And the window is not just now. It's the next really 5 years, given how they've built this. Amon-Ra St. Brown is still on a contract. Penei Sewell still on the rookie contract. Jameson Williams will be under the rookie contract for the next 3, 4, 5 years. The same thing with so many other rookies, Aiden Hutchinson, all the rookies you draft this year. The money is there. This team isn't going anywhere. To me, it's whether or not they're going to get much better on defense. And what do they do with Jared Goff? Jared Goff is only 28 years old. He's still in the really prime of his career.
Right.
If he's going to put up 4,400 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions for the next 5 seasons, well, I kind of don't mind having that at the quarterback position, depending on, depending on how much you're going to pay him. So, James, I agree. I don't think anybody wants to wait anymore. The window's now. Jeff brought this up earlier in the show. They're the favorites to win the North. I haven't seen them win the North in my lifetime. I was born, and the year prior, they won the North. My dad blames me for them not winning the North, so take that for what it's worth, man.
I've been blamed by my family members because the Fords bought it the year I was born.
Oh, God. Oh, you killed Kennedy, too, didn't you? Appreciate the call, James. Well done, man. Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
You too. Oh, man. You know what's funny about that, by the way? The JFK thing? That is one of my easily one of my favorite historical things to ever read into or watch and get into a discussion on. How do you not? We literally killed our fucking president. That is insane.
It is messed up.
And people didn't know for 10 years until that footage came out.
You gotta silence them.
Oh my goodness, that is amazing. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. Oh yeah, come on. We were killing presidents, trying to kill our own people to start a war. Come on. We wanted all the smoke. We didn't give a shit.
Oh, jeez.
Bruh. Oh, God.
Bruh's right.
All right, let's continue the callers. Whoops. Made a mistake there. Let's go to Trey. Trey, you're on the morning show. What do you got for us, buddy?
Hey, what's up, y'all?
How are you?
What's going on?
Not too bad. I'm the one that's always blowing y'all up with the mock drafts, taking Darnell Washington in second all the time. I just wanted to call. I know you guys are kind of on the Jalen Carter stuff, but one of the things that I was trying to get in there yesterday, but I got on the show too late. But with the free agency stuff with Brad Holmes, I think he's really showing how true to form he is as far as building through the draft by, not going out and getting these flashy players. Everybody wants them, like the Tremaine Edmonds and stuff like that. And, yeah, it'd be nice to have a guy like that. But at the same time, with the way that he's structuring contracts and not giving out these massive contracts, it kind of makes me lean towards the point of him trying to keep that cap under wraps so that when, these rookies are coming off their rookie deals, like Amon-Ra St. Brown and J-Mo and Aiden, that he's actually able to, manage to re-sign them to keep them on the team and build with that aspect rather than bringing in other guys, for these massive deals that are, already, far along into their career that haven't actually been a part of the organization.
I'll tell you what, I do agree with him. I think Brad Holmes really has shown all the capabilities of being one of the 5 best GMs in the NFL right now. He's been phenomenal. But, Jeff, I want to know what you think of this. I agree on the contract situation with not giving out any big money. But also next year, we know there's a lot of money available for the Lions.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to want to extend Sewell and St. Brown, and they have a lot of things coming up, but they can give the first-round option or fifth-year option, for Sewell, so I'm not too concerned there. But if they win the North this year and they win a playoff game and get to the divisional round,
right?
Dare I say an NFC championship game in the next 2 years, don't be surprised if the spending for, like a John Hargraves deal, 4 years, $84 million for an interior lineman or, one of the better corners, whatever they need at the time. I don't know, as I'm kind of forecasting here, but when they start winning, I think that's when they start spending and Brad Holmes gets aggressive. What do you think?
And I think the benefit of that, too, is he could draft well. That's the number one thing. If you can draft well, you're not as pressured to go out in free agency and overpay for guys. If you could find guys like Aiden, Kirby, Lee McNeil, who knows what they'll find this year, Malcolm, like James Houston, these things matter because previous regimes in Detroit, you'd botch the draft and then you look to free agency to overpay players that other teams found in the draft. Like Tremaine.
Like Trey Flowers?
Yes, absolutely. And like Tremaine Edmonds, to your point, he was drafted 16th. So you don't think Brad could go find players like that at 18? Like the Bills, that's a good organization. So to your point, I agree. I think Brad's ability to find talent in the draft has helped him immensely, take some pressure off of free agency. But you're right, Adam. Once he has money, he'll go spend it. But he doesn't have to.
Well, he's
because
responsible.
He's drafting guys that can play.
Like Trey said, he's responsible. Go ahead.
I agree with that, too, because like you were saying, Adam, like when they are starting to win, if they didn't make it, pretty far but don't get the Super Bowl, the next year spending that money and trying to get those contracts, kind of like the Hargraves that you're talking about. But also, with how he has handled it so far, it makes me confident that he can be very calculated about that.
Yeah.
Like as far as like the numbers and the years, like having it line up to match up to where he's still does have, cap available to still re-sign these types of players that we already have,
Yeah. No,
I would agree, man.
Absolutely, man.
Like to where he's not, fighting to free up cap space, and you got, say J-Mo and Hutchinson and Pascal and all these other guys, depending on obviously how they're
Look at Howie
contracts.
Roseman.
So,
Howie Roseman is exactly who you're describing to me. A guy that's drafted very well, but he's lined up all these contracts, huge contracts that he's given in free agency. When they expire, either the year prior or 2 years prior, they've drafted somebody in that position to eventually take over. Recently for them, it's Nakobe Dean, Jalen Carter, and Jordan Davis, and whoever the hell the other player is, I forget his name, but beyond the point, that's exactly what Philly's doing. They're replacing younger players with the guys they went and spent money on. They still have a lot of money available, obviously, because they have a different quarterback situation. But yeah, Trey, you're spot on, man. I think Brad knows exactly what he's doing. I have no issue with really anything he does at this point. He's never given me a reason to question him. So we'll see what happens in the draft, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
Appreciate the call, buddy.
They
Take care,
better
man.
Get Darnell Washington, though.
Darnell Washington. We'll see. And that's not a bad idea.
He's a freak. So
Dude, he's literally a sixth lineman on offense.
I know.
And makes fucking linebackers look like undersized DBs.
And you'd be paying him nothing if you draft him in the second round, which is probably
exactly,
where he'll go. So
exactly.
I don't mind it. Great call, Trey. Appreciate it, buddy. You're welcome back anytime, man.
Yeah.
Well, Adam, some fans would tell you, well, we have Shane Zylstra, so we don't need a tight end, buddy. We have Shane Zylstra.
You know what you have?
We have Brock Wright.
You have Ben Johnson.
And we have James
is what
Mitchell.
you have. You have Ben Johnson, and you have an offense that doesn't rely on a single player.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is, look, I think we're all smart enough to realize when you have Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill and Jamar Chase, helps your offense a lot.
Oh, it does.
But it can also hurt you, and we've seen this when we had Kelvin Johnson, when he's the only option, and you don't have an offense that supports him.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw down the stretch where Matthew Stafford really got a lot better the few years towards the end of Calvin's time here, and really the years after, because now it was an offense where he was spreading the ball. To me, the Lions have an unpredictable offense. Nobody they have to throw it to. Yeah, they have their key guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown on third down. That's your guy. That's who you're going to look for. But it's an offense that can really, really operate with whoever you put in right now, because they're really ahead of the game. Really happy with that.
They're hard to predict, hard to read.
Absolutely. We'll take a break. We'll continue calls. Let's push everything back. Love the calls. You guys are doing a great job today. We'll continue callers coming up back. I do want to ask you guys, when you call in, feel free to continue with free agency and Jalen Carter. I don't mind. But I also want to ask you guys this. Feel free to call in and share your thoughts. Do you actually believe the Lions can trade back? I'm not going to give you my answer or Jeff's answer until 9 o'clock. But I want to know, do you actually think trading back is a possibility anymore? You can add that to the phone calls coming up next. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Guardian Alarm.
Well, we're talking about defenses. Let me give you an elite defense in Guardian Alarm, because they got customized solutions from real experts. They take the time, they're professional technicians, to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. You can call them anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone with you for as long as you need. Your safety and security deserves technology that's not only been proven to work, but with people who have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT now.
Saturdays at 1 p.m. Make sure you're watching WoodwardSports.com for our new show, Chompin' Puck.
He shoots! He scores!
With four-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty and Michael Gentry, Chompin' Puck is taking the Detroit hockey community and giving them a voice. Pros to Joes. You'll get the best Detroit hockey coverage around. Chompin' Puck. Saturdays 1 p.m. on WoodwardSports.com.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh, wait. It's 2 for $4. Got to double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you want to know how, go to @centronworld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Let me tell you about my good friends over at Custom Health Centers. Look, if you're struggling with weight loss and you're looking for a healthy, viable solution, Custom Health Centers, look no further. 844-789-8446. Look at Gary alone, down 62 pounds since he started his journey. And you can look at Ryan Ermanni, down just over 21 pounds now since he started his journey. You can check him out at 2 o'clock. Give Dr. Jason and his awesome staff a call. My brother, by the way, down 13 pounds so far. Down
Good for
13
him.
pounds.
Good for
Down
him.
13 pounds, but he's a jackass and he cheated. He got off the program for 2 days, and Dr. Jason and his team put him in check. So he's back on, and he's doing well. So happy for him. Should be down more, but, you know, what are you going to do? Everybody makes a mistake here and there. What are you going to do? Moving on. All right. Let's continue the calls. Love it. I absolutely love it. Let's see what all of you think this morning. Let's go to Eric. Eric, you're on the morning show. What do you got for us, buddy?
What up, though, guys?
What's up, man?
What up, though?
Nothing much, man. Just on this Jalen Carter thing, I was wondering, do he have a personal pro day he got coming up? Do anybody know that?
I don't think a personal. I think he just did the Georgia Pro Day, but that technically is their personal
Yeah, that is,
one.
yeah.
So,
other than the combine.
Well, okay, so I'm thinking, like, maybe I think the fortunes have turned for Detroit, because usually in a situation like this, a guy with character concerns, a guy now come in out of shape, usually it would have been fool's gold and the Lions would have picked him because we wouldn't have known all this. But now it's like everything is coming out, and you see, like, and I understand, okay, he got into trouble. Maybe he was stressed and he's concerned about his draft position, but that's when you kick in on the field, you're training even harder.
Yep.
To mentally block all that stuff out and be like, I'm going to focus on this.
Yeah.
And it don't seem like he did that. In that mindset, no. I don't think Brad and Dan is... They probably still looking at him, but they're like, no, it's a lot.
Eric,
that's a
you're
big
spot on,
question
man.
on how you handle adversity. How you handle adversity. And I was wondering, in free agency, I know we probably going to lose Chark. What would y'all think about bringing Marvin Jones back? Another veteran.
So just to speak on your first point, Eric, you're spot on, because that's the whole point, right? It has nothing to do with, well, yes, he might have been stressed, but the fact that that's how Jalen Carter responded to adversity, that's got to be concerning, considering what Dan and Brad, they've always vocalized what kind of players they're looking for. Like, and that's why I listen. If Jalen Carter's there, you're going to have to think about it, but that's got to be a concern, the way he responded. So I thought you were spot on. But for Marvin Jones, I don't mind it. I don't. I know with DJ Chark's role, you're looking for a guy that can really take the top off. You're going to have Jamison, but you'd probably need another guy that can do that. Marvin's more of a, he's a nice possession receiver. He's still productive in Jacksonville. I don't know if he's the move, but he will be cheap, so I wouldn't hate it, Eric. I think, honestly, personally, you might have to draft a wide receiver this year. I think that's where, if I'm Brad, I'm going.
I'm thinking so, too. I kind of like the cat from Wake Forest. Dude is like 6'5", and he kind of got some speed, but he'll be a later round.
Eric,
But
as long as
Brad
you and Jeff and everybody else aren't Spencer and draft Quentin Johnston at 18, I don't mind whatever the hell you do after that.
No. Mm-mm.
Appreciate the call, man. Well done. Really appreciate it. Welcome back
All
anytime,
right,
man.
keep up the good work, y'all.
Appreciate it, man. You know what's funny, actually? Not only was he spot on about the character stuff, but that is exactly it.
Yes.
When I put the pressure on you, how do you respond?
You don't think life's going to get hard?
The pressure of life where, hey, you're dealing with a car incident, rumors coming out, what's true, what isn't. Everybody, the spotlight's on you.
The NFL.
You now have a pro day.
Imagine you get to the NFL. Like, imagine
what's going to happen in the fourth quarter when you're up 3?
Yep.
4th and 2, 4th and 1.
You're getting your ass kicked
Obvious
all game.
situation. You're trying to close out the game, and you're tired. Guess what? Everybody's fucking tired. Everybody's stressed. Everybody has problems. Get over it. Fix it. That is a great point, man. You know, actually, by the way, on the conversation of a wide receiver, you have to go sign receivers for the next 2 years, in my opinion. I don't think you draft, because you already have a 5th-year option coming up in, 4 years? No, 3 years technically from now,
Right.
with Jamison Williams. Amon-Ra St. Brown's going into his 3rd year. He's under a contract for the next 2. You're going to have to re-up him, and he's going to get paid handsomely, deservingly so. Okay? Well, why don't you just keep doing Chark-type deals?
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hear me out.
What?
So when Brad got here, he had to make an interesting decision on a certain player, a wide receiver, who was just cut. Imagine Kenny Galladay coming back to the Detroit Lions. You know what's funny? His only touchdown I thought he caught last year was over Darius Slay. Now, mind you, I'm kidding, but for you talk about a flyer. Give Galladay a little bit of cash.
Yeah, I guess everybody can
cheap.
just get a fucking job nowadays, right?
Dirt cheap deal.
Yeah, if he pays me, I still wouldn't sign him. He could pay me back all the money New York gave him. I wouldn't sign him. Kenny Galladay.
I love it. I love it. I just want to stir it up.
Stir up my ass.
Well, you know,
let's go to Kevin. I don't want to talk to you anymore, Jeff. Shut the hell up. Kevin,
Stay off the weed.
What do you got, buddy?
Yo, what's good? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I think, first of all, I think you have to draft a receiver in every draft, or else like you run the risk of like your top guy getting hurt, and we saw that what happened in like the mid part of the season. You had 3 guys out, and you were down to like I don't even know the guy's name anymore. The 8th wide receiver on your depth chart. So just like
like Cephas and all these guys. Yeah.
like you don't want those guys on the field. No offense to them, I'm sure. Like the XFL would love them, but like I'm trying to like make sure that like I have to insulate Goff from being Goff and being terrible. And like,
well, let me ask you then, where do you draft the wide receiver though? That's my question, because I have a big issue with drafting one in the 1st round.
3rd round.
Okay.
6th round. Like you can pick up Ronnie Bell in the 6th. You can pick up Shaq Davis in the 6th. Like there's plenty of like you don't need an alpha because you already have that in Ross, right? But like you need complementary pieces to him. You can't like or else like. Teams are just going to start doubling him, and Jared Goff can't hit J-Mo.
You know what, Jeff? I'll let you go on this, because for me, the way he said it is my answer. 3rd, even 2nd. But not really 2nd in my opinion, but 3rd, 4th, 5th round. I've already seen you draft an Amon-Ra St. Brown. If you can draft a player that's 50% as productive as he is in the 4th round,
right?
Be my guest.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's proven that. And I don't think he's going to draft a wide receiver in the 1st round back-to-back years, considering how bad this defense was, specifically that secondary. So, I think the wide receiver I would probably target through the draft. There's still some guys that I like even past the 2nd round, but we'll see. It's something Brad's going to have to look at, because DJ Chark, he's getting paid. So that's why I brought up Kenny Galladay jokingly, but you're going to have to get somebody.
Real quick, one more thing. You asked about trading down. I think the only position you're trading down from at this point is 18, because I don't think anyone's going to want to trade up for Jalen Carter.
I think that's fair. I don't think anybody's going to want to trade up, and I think Chicago right now are probably poised to get him at 9. He's going to fall.
That's fine.
And I'm so disappointed for him.
I'm disappointed for him too, but like, I feel like if you're not like when you have a guy like KNC versus Carter, and KNC works 10 times harder than Carter, they're just gonna take KNC.
I don't hate it. Appreciate the call, buddy. You're welcome back anytime, man. Well done, Kevin.
Thanks, man.
Yep. You know, we got to go to break. When we get back, we'll get to the draft strategy conversation I alluded to earlier. I think it's very important to have this conversation because all I want to do is make the case for how and why the Lions can and will win a lot of football games. And I'm going to tell you how I think they can do it consistently and set themselves up for basically a 5-6 year run through this draft. We'll get to that next, but before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Chili Peppers Tanning.
Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find all the cleanest salons in the D with spotless, sanitized rooms and trained and certified tanning professionals. Join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. Hottest bulbs, hottest deals, darkest tans. Your Vitamin D headquarters, 27 locations and more on the way.
Daddy.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Hey, you see me enjoying this recliner? A lazy boy recliner, that is? Oh, man. We are trying to hook you up with a couple of these for your home Woodward Sports Bracket Challenge. And also, maybe $1,000 too. Sound bad, right? Got couch like this, some chips, $1,000, couple lazy boys, huh? Woodward Sports Bracket Challenge, man. Join us today.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Seafood Fest is back at Big Boy. Catch it while you can. Some favorites during Lent, like shrimp Alfredo, shrimp stir fry, and the new fish sandwich. Get to your local Big Boy today. Don't forget the all-you-can-eat fish fry buffet on Friday nights.
You a fan of fish sticks?
No.
Fan of cod?
Not really.
No?
Not a big. No, the only fish I typically eat, probably like salmon.
You're an Italian. What?
Yeah, salmon I like.
What are you gonna do? Can't fix Italians. They're all fucked up.
Jesus Christ.
What are you gonna do?
There you go.
Sorry. I'm just gonna generalize
That's your
everybody.
blanket statement. Yeah, your blanket statement. My dad loves fish.
Does he?
Yeah.
All right, 9:03, top of the hour, here on the Morning Woodward Show, live, woodwardsports.com. As always, we're almost at 40,000 subscribers, by the way, on YouTube. So if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Drop a like on the video. But, draft strategy. Guys, I think we can all agree, and maybe we'll have small differences, which is fine. But I think we can all agree. You need a few things in the NFL to become a legitimate contender. And I'm going to push aside the head coach and GM for now, because I just want to focus on the field with the players, okay? Typically, to be a Super Bowl contender, you need a monster defensive front. You need a premier edge rusher. You need somebody on the interior that is a game wrecker, typically. If you want to go to Cincinnati recently, who have been contenders the last few years, forget the offensive side of the ball. Trey Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard, and a very good secondary. All right, well, who else has been in the conversation? The Niners. Niners are a bit of an exception right now because they basically have an all-pro at every single position. But for argument's sake, Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead prior to the Hargrave signing, Fred Warner at linebacker, Jimmy Ward in the secondary. Okay, now we're talking. Well, okay, what about Philly? We had Darius Slay and Gardner Johnson, and if you go to the defensive front, it's John Hargraves, it's Brandon Graham,
Reddick.
It's a lot of really good players. Hassan Reddick. Okay, well, who else is a borderline contender? Maybe not one of the best ones, but guys that are at least in the conversation. Miami, for example.
I wouldn't even say Dallas.
Right? Dallas.
'Cause
they've got the edge rusher.
Yep.
They've got the corner. Okay, well, let's go to Buffalo. And acquired Von Miller. Again, not the best unit, but still very strong. And they are lacking. Not everybody can be as good as the Niners, the Eagles, and the Bengals, and et cetera, and et cetera. But look at the Rams when they won their Super Bowl. Aaron Donald. You had Lloyd lining up. God, why am I forgetting his? Jalen Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a stud. It was a team full of studs. And you had that white guy, Gaines, in the center. And he was uber productive that year. You had a defense. You had something to hold on to. Okay. Well, this year, who's going to contend that is a team that didn't make the NFC or AFC championship game last year? You would look at Miami, Bradley Chubb, Xavier Howard, now Jalen Ramsey. Studs, star, difference makers. What do the Lions have? Do they have any of those? I'd like to think Aiden Hutchinson qualifies for that. 9.5 sacks your first year in the NFL. Really damn good. Sign me up. I think he's going to be an all-pro player. No problem at all. Okay. Who else? Who else other than Aiden right now? Kirby Joseph. He was all rookie team, but, maybe he emerges and becomes a top 10 safety, so maybe I'll give you Kirby.
Right.
I think that's very optimistic of you, but still, you need to draft defensive difference makers if you're not going to sign them. And that's why we talk so much about an interior defensive lineman. Another edge rusher. Yeah, you have Cominsky. You have Aquara. You have Pascal, who's unproven still. James Houston. You have a lot of depth. But there's nothing wrong with more and more. I remember a time where the Lions were 6 deep on the defensive front.
Look at San Francisco.
And it's when they had one of the 5 best defenses statistically in NFL history.
Yeah.
San Francisco is deep.
They signed
Philly is deep.
They signed Hargraves. They probably didn't even need to.
You can never have enough game wreckers on the defensive line. And if you ever want to stop an opposing quarterback, you put pressure on him. Remember Tom Brady? The greatest quarterback of all time, by the way. Tom Brady. The legit conversation when he was 3-2 in Super Bowls was he's a quarterback, he's average if you just put pressure in his face, which is the most blanket statement ever. Because if you get to the quarterback of, really with any team, any quarterback, they're going to be not as productive. Get in their face, get them on the ground. That's the key to success for any quarterback, really. And then, of course, he went on and won all those other Super Bowls after, but that's beyond the point. You have to have difference makers on the defense. You saw James Houston, by the way, make a difference-making type play against Justin Fields in the Chicago game down the stretch. That open field tackle on a super athlete, by the way, was exactly what you need. You need guys that can make plays. And now you have a Cam Sutton who can make plays in the secondary. You'd like to imagine Emmanuel Mosley will find his form eventually with the Lions. You're feeling really good about this team. But you still need to draft them. You can never not have enough defensive linemen, in my opinion. That's why I'm so adamant about whoever it is. Do you need to draft Beydoun? Nah. Do you need to get Quentin Johnston or Jordan Addison or Smith and Jimba? Nah. Your offense is fine. It was a top 5 offense. It was a top 5 offense. Go make this defense a top 15 defense. You win 12 games this year. I guarantee it. You give me a top 15 defense, it's a 12-5 football team. Defense, defense, defense. And you can never have enough game-changing defensive front players.
So, JB, Easy's on the line. What does Easy want to discuss? Easy?
What up, though, fellas?
What up, baby?
What up? You sound like you're in the fucking closet of Walmart. What's going on here?
What do you want to talk about?
My bad. I got my hair. Will we try taking my AirPods out? It sounds better or no?
No, you're good. You're good.
All right, I wanted to call and defend my man Spinney, man, for taking Quentin Johnson at 18.
So why the hell would he do that?
So you got to look at it. It's really dependent on what happens with DJ Chark ultimately at the end of the day, I obviously really hope that he comes back. But if you listen to the interview, we all trust Ben Johnson, right?
Yes.
I'd say even more so than Jared Goff. He's probably the driving factor behind this offense. I mean, Jared Goff 2021 wasn't doing nothing before him. When a sit-down interview with Tim Twentyman, Ben Johnson told you that DJ Chark was part of the success that you saw out of J-Mo this year. And that the best spot that he sees J-Mo in is as a slot receiver, which is why DJ Chark's a high priority on his list to bring back in free agency. If the Detroit Lions aren't able to do that, they need to fill that X spot so J-Mo could flourish. Because every single time J-Mo even almost touched the ball last year, every opportunity was to score. The Detroit Lions' strength of the team is the offense, and DJ Chark was a part of that. If we lose that X receiver, I just can't guarantee you're going to get the same production, especially out of J-Mo.
How if you had a top 5 offense when DJ Chark missed the first half of the season, basically? I'm not...
No, that's actually not true. If you look at the numbers the Detroit Lions had without DJ Chark in the game, they're actually lower than what they were with them in.
Well, obviously they're going to get better with him there, but they still had a top 5 offense, scoring offense, for the majority of when he was gone.
Correct, but no.
And that was without Jameson Williams even being back.
Correct. But look at the games without DJ Chark. The offense wasn't as productive.
Of course, he's a very good receiver, but I'm still not following the idea of drafting a receiver in the first round.
You got to think too easy. That was without DJ Chark, but this year you'll have Jameson. So it's like without DJ this year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm just saying it's Ben Johnson talking, right? I love you guys, but this is Ben Johnson, the guy who single-handedly saved this offense.
Yeah,
you put Jared Goff part of the equation too, but he's the one saying it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. Like I get that, but that doesn't mean he's saying Quentin Johnson at 18. He wants a player like DJ Chark. I get that. Again, to open up things for Jameson, I understand that, but where does that lead you to think that Quentin Johnson is the pick at 18 over a plethora of other guys that you could make an argument for?
I don't get the DJ Chark argument. I don't, because look, again, Easy, I agree with you. I think he makes the offense more dynamic.
Of course he does.
100% agree with you on that. I think you're spot on. But down the stretch in those, final 7-8 games, he had 3 games over 80 yards. The rest of the games were 2 catches for 16, 0 catches for 0, 1 for 18, 2 for 56, and 3 for 14. Again, I like DJ Chark. I like the idea of having him there because it opens up the field for everybody else, but... Easy, a first-round pick. I have a GM. If you can get me somebody in the 3rd, 4th round that's 50% as productive as Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's all I'm asking for.
This draft class is a draft class full of slot receivers. There's really only, I'd probably say, that I trust 2 X's in this draft class. Everybody else you're being told is a slot guy. We already have that, both in J-Mo and Amon-Ra St. Brown. We need a true X wide receiver if you want this offense to function to its fullest. And I'm going, again, off of Ben Johnson. I love you guys. This is Ben Johnson requesting this. At 18, I mean, what else are you guys looking at to fill?
Oof.
They grab quarterbacks.
Oof.
You know what I'm saying?
And again, you keep saying like, oh well, it's Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson isn't saying to draft Quentin Johnson at 18. He's saying so I don't know what that doesn't support your argument. We're talking about Quentin Johnson at 18. Listen.
Well, hold on, Jeff. It supports my argument because in this draft class, who closely relates to what DJ Chark can do for you on the field, and it's Quentin Johnson.
Easy. I understand that, but for DJ Chark and his production to get me 500 yards and miss half the season with a top 5 offense, I can go sign somebody miss half the season and give me 500 yards. Just be a threat. That's all I need you to do. Be a threat.
Brother, you can't.
You're gonna have Jameson Williams. You're gonna have Jameson Williams this year for the entire year. He's gonna be way more involved than he was last year. So you're not gonna need a guy like DJ Chark in that role. You're not gonna need to depend on him as much as he did last year because you have Jameson. So you just need someone that could stretch the field for you. Like I don't think you need to reach and take one at 18. That's what I'm not understanding. Like why 18 for Quentin Johnson when you can make an argument for 18? There's a lot of guys that could be there. I don't know who's going to fall, but you're going maybe even Cansey if he's there. Nolan Smith. Like there's some top tier defensive talent there, and I just don't know why you take a wide receiver when you over any of those guys. I don't understand.
So we can't guarantee those guys are there. If Johnson's there, he's probably the best wide receiver in this class, correct?
I mean, I would go with Jackson Smith and Jigma, but that's my opinion.
Okay, so again, in relation to DJ Chark and what he offers to the offense, and reminding you every opportunity you see J-Mo get the ball was with DJ Chark in the game, opening things up for him. Who closely relates to him outside of Quentin Johnson as a DJ Chark role? Who is the guy? later on in the draft.
There aren't many. That's the problem, and that's why I have a problem with him in the first round. To me, it's not worth it. I'd rather just go out in free agency and try to find somebody. Go ahead.
If there's not many, I'm saying if there's not many, that's exactly why you would take them. Because in free agency, you're not finding someone who's 6'4", 6'5", running a 4.3, 4.4.
Yeah, but a wide receiver.
I think you're banking on the idea that Johnston. Look, I don't want to diminish the conversation because I do think you have a point with the value that Chark does bring to an offense, and not just Chark, the type of player that Chark is, the build, the size.
Yeah, the size and speed.
I would agree with you on that, Easy, but to me, drafting a wide receiver, to me, that's like the least of my concerns in the first round. But I got to go to break, though.
And we'll go to break. But Easy, thank you for calling. It really has nothing to do with Quentin Johnston, the player. I like the player. In my philosophy in the draft, I'd like the Lions to take a quarterback at 6, and if they do that, I'm not taking a wide receiver at 18. I'm sorry. So that's kind of my philosophy. I get if you go defensive player and you want Quentin. I don't want to go quarterback wide receiver. I got to take a defensive player. I'll pass on Quentin Johnston, but he's still a great player, and he'll still be drafted top 20.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah,
that's fair.
That's fair. I'm going with context of Spenny's draft where he had Jalen Carter 6.
Okay,
so
then yes.
That is fair,
then there you
that's
go.
A great
Yeah.
point.
I'm not mad at Spenny for that, but
All
appreciate
right.
you calling, bro.
Appreciate it, Easy. Let's take a break.
Love
When
you guys.
we get
Keep
back,
killing it. Let's see how it works.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Yep. When we get back, continue the conversation. I want to get to the people as well. I want to take some more phone calls. 313-552-6322 is the number. Quentin Johnston is an interesting name, but I can't fall in love with it. I can't. I think this wide receiving class is significantly less in terms of quality across the board compared to last year's, where you had Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, the list goes, Jahan Dotson, Jameson Williams. To me, I would draft all of those players over Quentin Johnston. So why the fuck am I spending a first-round pick on him? But I get the point, though.
Yeah,
prototype-wise, you want a big-bodied wide receiver on the outside. It opens up a lot of things. I get it.
But again,
go figure it out in free agency or later on in the draft.
Could be Mac Hollins.
Could be. When we get back, we'll continue the conversation. I want to take some phone calls, but Jeff, before we go, our good friends over at Swiss Insurance.
Let me tell you about them. Be sure to check with Swiss Insurance this week for your commercial insurance review. Many businesses do choose a New Year's Day effective date, but you can still get in. Swiss can make sure you have the proper coverage. Swiss Insurance, give them a shot, and you won't be disappointed. Mark at SwissINS.com.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
I got to tell you guys about our last day doing the free bracket challenge presented by Gardner White. And do you have the best bracket in Detroit? Have you done these? Are you used to doing brackets? Because I have an idea for you. You could win some prizes here. First place, if you enter, you have a chance to win $1,000 in 2 Lazy Boy recliners. Second place, you can win $500 in 1 Lazy Boy recliner. Third place, you can get simply a new Lazy Boy recliner. Head to woodwardsports.com right now and sign up for our Woodward Sports Bracket Challenge for free. Yes, for free. Presented by Gardner White. Special thank you to Rachel Tronstein Stewart, the president of Gardner White, for making this all happen. Again, woodwardsports.com. Go sign up. It's free. And look at the wonderful prizes. You must be a resident in the state of Michigan.
All right. 9:19 on a beautiful Thursday morning. Here's what we got, boys. We're going to take some calls. I want to get your guys' thoughts still on free agency, draft strategy moving forward. Then I want to continue on around the NFL. Kenny Golladay released. Aaron Rodgers, we're waiting for the compensation to work out, but he has notified the world that he does intend on playing for the New York Jets. Very, very interesting. And then we'll wrap up with some final thoughts on how the board will shape up for the Lions and what it means really for their chances this year to win the division. Haven't won a division since 93-94. It's been over 3 decades.
Yeah.
Since their last playoff win and division win. They've never even won the NFC North, technically. Is that correct? I'm pretty sure. This iteration of the North, with the Packers, Vikings, and Bears, they've never won it. I'm pretty sure that is correct, by the way. Because when they last won, I think Tampa was in it. So, fuck our lives, huh? Talk about that. That's been too long. But hopefully this is the year. It's looking like it. They have no excuse. But, moving forward. Let's take some calls. West, you've been waiting patiently. West, you're on the morning show. What do you got for us, buddy?
What's good, my friends?
What's good, man? How are you?
I'm all right. You know, I've been looking at this draft and everything that's been going on. So, you know, I was looking at the team from last year, which we made good improvements, but we still got a lot of holes to fill on the defense. And the offense was good, but, you know, there's nothing wrong with a little boost. I think David Montgomery brings that. You know, sorry we lost Jamal, but, hey, you know, running backs come, running backs go. Now, what I'm thinking is, if you're the Lions, do you take a chance and move back in the draft? Now, I was looking at some of the teams in the first round. The Eagles got 2 first-round picks, so I was thinking if they was to move back with them, you'll get the 10th and the 30th pick, and you can add 3 first-round quality talents to this team. But it all depends on who falls in those slots. So, you know, I feel like all our quarterbacks might be going, might not. Somebody's going to slide. So I feel like whoever you get at 10, that would be more like a best player available scenario, and then you just fill your holes with the next 2 in that round. What you guys think about that?
I think the problem I have with it is I don't know how Philly is incentivized to move up 4 picks, given they already have a loaded roster. They have depth. To me, they're not pressured to do anything. And even if you trade back to 10, well, who's going to fall? Because the rumors are Jalen Carter's not getting past Chicago at 9. So even then, I don't know how you feel about Jalen Carter.
You liable to get either a corner or a lineman. Tyree Wilson might fall. It depends, because you really don't, with all of these trades and everything going on, you really don't know, but you kind of get a sense that Jalen might fall. If he do fall and we miss on him, it's going to hurt us, but I think we still can get a quality player, 3 quality players that can make up for that. That's if it was to fall like that, but that's all I wanted to see what you guys' opinion was.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to the idea of trading back. To me, I've been really thinking about this, West, and I haven't seen anybody that's going to be enticed to move up to 6 now that Vegas at 7 has gotten their quarterback, Atlanta at 8 has gotten their quarterback. The 3 of the first 4 picks in this draft will be quarterbacks, with Indy, Houston, and Carolina drafting quarterbacks. I don't know. I don't know where they go. You're right, the board could shape up in an odd way that could benefit the Lions, but to me, I think they're going to get stuck at 6, and I think they have to man up and make a decision on the defensive line.
Let me throw this in real quick. Even though the Eagles re-signed James Bradbury, but they cut Slay, you don't think they want that hungry guy, Devin Witherspoon, right there at 6?
Well, you know what? I think
Slay is
literally
back.
As of this morning, Slay is back. I think they didn't officially cut him. They were intending on it. And now he's suddenly back. I actually don't even know how that works out. But
if I'm the Eagles, Wes, I'm sitting at 10. I'm taking Bijan. Like, let's roll.
They signed Rashad Penny.
I don't
though.
care. He ain't no Bijan.
Of course.
And he's
but-
not Miles Sanders. And let alone they just let him walk to Carolina. It's a luxury pick. I'm staying put.
Yeah.
If I'm Philly, take Bijan at 30. Find C.J. Gardner-Johnson's replacement. Let's roll.
See what I'm saying?
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
So
Appreciate
I
the
love
call,
the idea,
West.
though, Wes. Appreciate you calling.
Well done, man.
Oh, yeah, appreciate it, guys. You guys be good.
You know,
Like, think about that. If you're Philly, you're Howard.
oh, if I'm Philly, I'm not moving anywhere.
Just stand put. You could take a
I
corner.
can stay
but
put, give Bijan Robinson,
get
because Vegas isn't drafting a running back. None of the first 6 teams in the draft are drafting a running back.
No.
Atlanta's not drafting a running back. Tyler Allgeier's doing just fine there. Okay, who's at pick 9? Chicago, they're not drafting a running back. Bijan Robinson will be there at 10. Guaranteed.
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 And it's not even their pick. Like, it's a
The only way is if somebody trades out at 8 or 7.
Right.
And somebody really wants a running back, which whoever that
Which
is
it's
should
not
get
happening.
fired for doing that.
Yeah,
but.
which is not happening.
All right. moving on. Let's go to Brandon. Brandon, you're on the morning show. Or excuse me, I apologize. Braxton. Braxton, you're on the morning show. What do you got for us, buddy?
Hey. So, I just want to talk about Jalen Carter and the idea of us picking him at 6.
Yep.
I think he's going to fall, and I'm completely out on him. One of the worst things about a D lineman is a questionable motor and wasted potential in general. When you have to have like a motivation for your D lineman to do anything, that's one of the most irritating things to play with.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Lions, we're not that type of organization where we're gonna like deal with any of that. So I feel like we're completely out on him. But I wouldn't be opposed to us trading up to get Will Anderson. I feel like he could play on early downs, and like we can rotate the DNs, all 3 of them. But if we stay at 6, I just feel we should trade back or something, because I don't like anyone that much to pick him at 6. Maybe Tyree Wilson, but I didn't know he was 23 years old and he's that raw. So that's kind of scaring me, because he only has like a bull rush in his arsenal. So I just wanted to know what y'all was thinking about him.
You go.
You can go ahead.
Well, so I'll start with Tyree Wilson. I don't mind it. The only thing I'm concerned with Tyree is the injuries. Like he just had injury. He had ended his season last year. He had off season surgery, and then past that too. Like at 6, it's an interesting position because you're right outside where all the quarterbacks are projected to go. So there's a possibility that one of those guys could fall to you. So I like that part of it being at 6, but then you're right though. Like at 6, you're kind of in this awkward medium. You're in the middle there because teams at 10, you're going to take a corner. Like Philly has that opportunity. I think 6 might be too high to take a corner, but it also is too late to take a quarterback or Will Anderson or any of those guys. It's a very weird spot at 6. If I'm Brad, if you can't trade back, which I don't think he can, and I don't think trading up's an option for Will Anderson, if I'm being honest with you, Braxton, because if I'm Arizona, why the hell would I trade back and miss on Will Anderson? I'll just stay put, take Will Anderson. They just hired a defensive-minded head coach. They need to replace J.J. Watt. Go get Will Anderson. So as much as I love the idea, Braxton, I just don't see him doing it. I think he's just too damn good for a team to say, all right, come get Will Anderson.
I feel like if we can't get him, then the next best thing for us to get, like when I saw the defense last year, one of the 2 main things that held us back was injuries. People forget how many injuries we had last year.
Right.
Like our whole rotation of DNs last year was tired. We had them playing the whole game. And our nickel corner, nickel is the most important position in the secondary, in my opinion, because those slot receivers, if you can take away a quarterback security blanket, that's like one of the most important things you can do as a defense. And Will Harris is not it. Will Harris is not it with that. So Brian Branch, I feel like would be a dream situation. Like if we get him, I feel like we could be a Super Bowl contender, borderline. I feel like that would. Hey,
you draft a defensive end or an interior lineman and then follow it up with Brian Branch.
You got some dogs.
You have quite the defense rolling into next year. And I don't know what you think of this, Braxton, but I think if you give this offense a top 15 defense this year, I think they win 11, 12 games.
Oh, definitely. Golf just has to take care of the ball. That's all they're asking from them, for real. You have to take care of the football, get it to these playmakers. Defense has to hold up on their end of the bargain. But the only thing about that is, like the Dallas game last year, the defense held up their end of the bargain, but Golf couldn't make any plays. That's the only thing I'm scared of this year. But other than that, I feel like we should be straight.
Yeah, no, you're spot on, Braxton. Appreciate you calling, man.
Great call, man. Well done.
Thank you.
Yep. Side note to his whole point. Will Anderson, can we all agree, if available at 6 in some fucked up world where everybody makes huge mistakes in the top 5?
Yeah, you're running up to that podium.
I think you're going to accept the fine that the NFL is going to give you, and you're not going to give the networks TV production time to even get the pick in. You're just going to submit it, and they're going to be like, "What the fuck, dude? Again? Really?"
It's going to say the Lions are on the clock
again, like you did for Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, it'll be like Aiden. Like Lions are on the clock, and then quickly the pick is in.
You know,
within a second.
The idea of questioning motor to me, it's not about motor for a lineman. It's about will.
Right.
It's about character. Because when the going gets tough, the tough get going.
Facing adversity.
And look, I'm not going to say anything bad about Kayvon Thibodeau. This isn't anything bad about him. But if you look at his rookie season compared to Aiden Hutchinson, one was uber productive and a much worse defense. While Kayvon, 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, a good season.
But that was with, well, he was injured, but also that was with...
But he played 14 games. I mean, come on.
No, true. But that was also with Dexter Lawrence getting pressure from the interior
Adoree
consistently.
Jackson.
Yes.
That was a good defense. So...
Aiden didn't have a Dexter Lawrence.
Take that for what it's worth.
Dominating, the interior of an offensive line. It just wasn't happening. So...
I agree.
It's important.
I love the Kalijah Cansey support, by the way, recently. There's still the doubters and haters, but I'm just saying.
You talked about Cansey. I brought up Brian Branch, did a breakdown of him a couple weeks ago, and now you're seeing more noise of these guys. I love it. I love the Brian Branch love. I love the
If you
Kalijah
told me
Cansey
Cansey and Branch were the first-round picks for this season.
Let's roll.
And Jack Campbell was at 48.
Let's roll.
I would book a top 15 defense next year.
If we found a way to get Forbes, if we found a way to get Emmanuel Forbes, that's a little sprinkle on
Doubt
top.
it. I
It's not
doubt
gonna
it.
go with that.
I think he's going to go 33 to 36.
Yeah, I'm with you.
No chance the Lions get him.
Yeah. You're probably right.
All right. We'll take a break. When we get back, I want to get to the NFL. We haven't really talked about what the hell happened yesterday. Aaron Rodgers, Kenny Galladay getting released. Obviously, Jamal Williams signing with the Saints and so much more action. The Bengals, a splash signing. Did they make the right move, not paying a safety and Jesse Bates, but going out and getting Orlando Brown and paying him big-time money?
Who's a right tackle, but he thinks he's a left tackle, but they signed him to play left tackle.
We're going to have the conversation coming up next, but before we go, I got to talk about my good friends over at Planet Fitness. Sign up today. $10 a month. What are you waiting for? Get in shape. Take care of your mental and physical health by getting to a local Planet Fitness near you. Sign up today by visiting one of their many local locations or by going to planetfitness.com.
Braylon Edwards here, Michigan Wolverine. Your favorite Wolverine, by the way. I'm here at Gardner White, the only local Michigan furniture store. You got to come check them out. Lazy Boy, that's my section. It was nice. Perfect timing for that WoodwardSports.com bracket challenge. Please. Ooh, how good are you? Do you think your bracket's gonna be the best? Or if you think you got the best bracket in Detroit, go to WoodwardSports.com and sign up for the bracket challenge now. Because you know what you can get? $1,000 cash and a couple of these chairs for the crib. WoodwardSports.com. Sign up for the bracket challenge.
At work and at home. We're there with smarter security solutions, featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Ooh. 9:33. It's Thursday. As Fish would say, what is it, the day before Friday? Or what?
Friday Eve.
Friday Eve.
Well, Maddie actually, she's kind of
Was that a Maddie thing?
Yeah, then Fish kind of.
I don't remember anymore. A lot of people talking a lot of different shit here. Can't keep up with it. We're back. WoodwardSports.com. Morning Woodward Show. Adham, Beydoun, Jeff, Iafrate. Jeff, Aaron Rodgers intends on playing with the New York Jets. You know how I think of it? Or, excuse me, you know what I think of it? I don't think it's going to work, but Aaron Rodgers is still a very good quarterback. You would imagine they will be better. That has to be a 9-10 win team at the worst next year, no?
Yeah, absolutely. But the division, though, got
the
better.
AFC
The AFC got better, but their division specifically, you saw what Miami did. The Patriots are the Patriots. I mean, they'll be mid this year, is the last couple of years. But Buffalo, Miami, those are two legitimate contenders now. If Tua can stay healthy and believing the Buffalo Bills will just be in the conversation as they typically are, That's a tough division. And you got Aaron Rodgers, who, I mean, let's be real. He played in Green Bay his entirety of his career, a relatively smaller market. They were winning games, and that's what got them that exposure, even with Brett Favre. But it's different now. You're playing in New York. You're going to have to face New York media consistently. So for Aaron, I'm interested to see how this goes. If I'm New York, again, it's Aaron Rodgers. You need a quarterback. It makes sense. But the personality of Aaron Rodgers is probably my biggest concern in New York with the Jets, because if things go wrong, they could go really wrong. You done messed up, AA Ron. You know it, AA Ron. Like that's the big risk the Jets are taking, because even if Aaron Rodgers comes out and he puts up an MVP type season, which he said he can still do, what are they going to do in the postseason? That's my big question for Aaron Rodgers, because even after those MVP seasons, he laid a fat egg in the postseason. He had 1 year. He played the Bucs in the NFC Championship game. Matt LaFleur, they didn't go for it on 4th down. But other than that, it's been nothing but being upset as Packers fans. So for Jets fans, get used to it, because it doesn't mean they're Super Bowl contenders. You can say that some teams are good enough to win a Super Bowl. The Jets have talent. They're not a Super Bowl contender to me. They just aren't. Aaron Rodgers does it. The last 10 years will prove that to me. So we'll see. He's got a good defense. Had one in Green Bay when he won that Super Bowl, but that was over a decade ago. It's a different time. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see. Zeke released, by the way, the overweight fat running back in Dallas. You guys heard of that? No?
He is a free agent.
I told you this, by the way, 2 years ago. That he was done. Poor guy. They overpaid. You never overpay a running back, and this is why Darius Slay apparently will be staying with the Philadelphia Eagles. But the more important news to me, Orlando Brown signing with the Cincinnati Bengals. They chose where to spend their money, and they're investing in keeping Joe Burrow protected, knowing that he'll lead them where they believe they can go, which is all the way back to the Super Bowl and maybe win it. Thoughts?
I mean, and by the way, it's not just about your tackles, it's about your guards and center as well. Because if you watch the Chiefs versus the Bengals, that was what was happening all game. He was getting consistent pressure from Chris Jones and Frank Clark, so they needed to address it. This has kind of been the narrative with the Bengals. But the interesting thing you notice is they got Orlando Brown, and then they had Lyle Collins. They traded for last year. And I don't know if Lyle Collins, I know he was injured and he ended the season early, but those are your tackles now. They got some talent up front. I mean, I don't mind it. Bengals rebuilding their offensive line. It's super important because Joe Burrow is your entire franchise, so you got to protect him. And the Orlando Brown move tells me they are. So I like it. Jesse Bates, great player. They just couldn't afford him. And they're going to have to pay Jamar soon. They're going to have to pay Joe soon. And they got to figure out what they're doing with Mixon. So a lot of things the Bengals got to solve. But, yeah, that Jesse Bates deal, that was inevitable. They were never going to pay him that money. And Orlando Brown, if you go and read the Chiefs fans, just Twitter in general or Chiefs Reddit, whatever, not a lot of great things said about Orlando Brown. I'll tell you that. So we'll see how it goes. But Bengals had to do it.
All right, fair enough. I don't mind it at all. What do you think about this move? And I agree with Michael here. I'm not opposed to this. Small controversy, but I do think there's something to this. What do you guys think about bringing Ezekiel Elliott to be a backup guard here in Detroit? I think he's onto something.
Well, so seeing how he did against the 49ers, that dumb play, the last play they ran where he had to single block somebody, I forgot who it was. He was on an island. I don't know. He would do pretty good. Hank Fraley would turn that man into an all-pro.
I think Michael just hit the nail in the coffin. That is,
Hank Fraley could turn that man into an all-pro.
You just got to gain another, 20 pounds, and he'll be a prime defensive lineman. Or, offensive lineman. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. What's up with Zeke, by the way? The whole fashion thing. You know how he lifts up his jersey and shows off his stomach? You know what would be awesome? Honestly. If offensive linemen started showing up to games like that. Imagine. Offensive and defensive linemen going the Zeke route and just letting it all loose. Bruh. That would be fun to watch.
And it's crazy too, just thinking about it, the Bengals lost Von Bell and they lost Jesse Bates.
Yep. No, they took a big hit in the secondary.
So yeah, I just
shocking where they put their money. But look, Atlanta gave him $464. I don't blame Jesse Bates for that.
Get your bag, man.
Let's take a break. When we get back, we'll wrap up the show with some closing arguments. Maybe we'll do some phone calls, and then we'll get to mailbag at 9:50. But before we go, I got to tell you about my good friends over at Cousins Maine Lobster. Sign up today. What the hell are you waiting for? Scan their QR code, go to their website, and find out where their food trucks are. Treat yourself to an excellent lunch. It's been a great week if you're a Detroit Lions fan. Spoil yourself. Get some lobster tacos, clam chowder soup, my 2 personal favorite. And that's all I will tell you to eat because, well, those are the 2 that I like the most. Give them a try. Go to cousinsmainelobster.com. We'll see you right back in a bit.
Saturdays at 1 p.m. Make sure you're watching WoodwardSports.com for our new show, Chompin' Puck.
He shoots! He scores!
With 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty and Michael Gentry, Chompin' Puck is taking the Detroit hockey community and giving them a voice. Pros to Joes. You'll get the best Detroit hockey coverage around. Chompin' Puck. Saturdays 1 p.m. on WoodwardSports.com.
You're about to be shell-shocked. The catch of the day is in. Big Boy Seafood Fest is officially back. Join us for some of your favorites like our popcorn shrimp and pike perch platters and our classic fish and chips. This year, we've reeled in some fresh catches like our shrimp Alfredo, shrimp stir-fry, and our fish sandwich. And especially, don't forget about our all-you-can-eat Friday night fish fry buffet. Every day is a fish fry at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live. WoodwardSports.com as always. Thank you guys for joining us this morning. I did see a question during the break. Could somebody tell us what Jeff Okuda's dead cap hit would be if they released him? It's $5 million. You're already paying him $10 million this year, so to me, there's no point in releasing him.
No.
Just let him play. Let him play. Let
and
his
you're not
contract
picking up
expire.
Yeah, you're not picking up that 5th year. It's $11 million.
Move on.
Yeah, it's.
You know,
it's
Broder
over.
was asking me during the break about my baby. Asked me when it was due. I told him July. It's like, holy shit, like it's right around the corner. He's like, do you know if it's a boy or a girl? I'm like, oh, it's a boy. The fuck? You think I'm gonna shoot out a girl? Zero chance. Zero chance.
Jesus.
I ate so much chocolate, nuts, you name it, all the shit they tell you online.
What?
Yeah, man. You never heard of that shit?
You eat chocolate and nuts?
Yeah, I think there's like something to it. Like if you eat that, you're more likely to shoot out a boy. No? Is that not real, by the way?
You eat chocolate.
Look, all I know is I'm 1 for 1. All I know is I'm 1 for 1.
Not that drop, JV. You did not just pull that drop out. Okay, I'm like puzzled right now because I got eating nuts and chocolate can help you, quote, shoot out a boy, which take that definition by however you wish. And then I got JB playing the Pornhub music in the background.
No, it's a great drop.
Wow.
10 out of 10. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
This music comes on after Adham indulges in the chocolate and
100%.
Then
I know what's going on.
You're ready to go.
We know what's going on.
Well, there you guys have it. Look, who said we weren't an educational show? Chocolate, nuts, you'll shoot out a boy.
Listen, man, you just got to put your head to it. So far, I'm batting 100 or 1,000, however you want to describe it.
Nice.
1 for 1. I don't miss. Hopefully, I don't fuck up the second kid.
Oh,
God help me.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know. You never know.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know. I can't. I'm cautious on what I should say.
Yeah, no doubt.
I have my fears. Oh God, fuck me. What are we gonna do? All right.
Garbanzo says, anybody else just instinctively get an anticipatory half chub hearing that drop?
You sick asses. What are you
Hey,
gonna do with you guys?
Come on.
Oh God, have one of
Jesus.
each. Hashtag American Dream. Yeah, you know, We'll see. I just wanted a boy. Now that the boy's here, I don't, so whatever happens after, I don't really care.
Jesus.
I just wanted one, I just wanted one.
I understand.
Just give me one boy. I'll live with the rest. I don't care. It can be a he. It can be a she. It can be an it. It can be a z. Whatever they call it nowadays. I don't know. A zim. Z-zim. I don't fucking know. Whatever the pronouns are. I don't know. Whatever. Just give me my boy. That's all I wanted. Just wanted a boy first. Let me corrupt him. Make him a little me. That'd be great. Does Jamal fire his agent? I don't know. I don't know what he was offered. So what are you gonna do? Not my problem. He's gone. He's not my problem. $3 for $12 million. Not the end of the world. That you gave Montgomery 3 for 11. So
yeah,
you're just fine. The goal is to get 2 years out of Montgomery. You get 2 productive years. I think it's a great deal.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Inclusive Adam got. Adam wants to shoot up the club today or something. Hey, it's been a long time actually.
Jeb says
I haven't been to a club in like 4 years probably.
Jeb says the kid's gonna pop out with a full head of hair.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
In
You
a
kidding
beard?
me?
In a beard, okay.
Nah, goatee. Start with the
Goatee? It's lined up and everything.
Lined up and everything. Man.
Dang.
Frog/frogger
Baby
pronoun.
bougie.
Whatever you want to call it. Whatever the pronoun is, not my problem. Would you be willing to do a short segment with Fish on Fridays? You could call it Fish Friday. That would be awesome if Fish didn't mind. Fish. I love Fish. I have nothing bad to say about Fish. I'll do anything with Fish. I don't give a shit. Oh, God. All right. Here's what we're going to do. Got a few minutes. I want to wrap up on the Lions. Overall, we haven't done grades yet, so maybe this is for a later day. But Jeff's initial takeaways, barring them signing maybe a wide receiver, thoughts on their free agency period overall?
I thought it went well. I did. Last year, they were more conservative, didn't really spend that much money. We knew they'd spend more money, and I didn't think they would chase big-time free agents. We never really said that. I think Tremaine Edmonds we brought up, but the reality was they weren't chasing those guys. They were getting the Cam Suttons, the Emmanuel Mosleys, re-signing guys they liked and wanted to bring back. So it wasn't going to be an extremely busy offseason. But the players they picked up, I absolutely love, considering what they're getting paid and what the deal looks like. So even the guys they couldn't re-sign, Jamal Williams, who you replaced him with, I've loved Brad's approach to this free agency. I thought he's been cautious, smart, but also in reality, it's like we got to add some talent here, and he did that. So he addressed some positions in need, and I think the draft is the next step, and he'll fill the rest of those holes through the draft. So I loved it. I loved how he approached it. I really did, and the players he signed.
I was actually shocked, to be honest with you. To get one veteran corner, what I expected/wanted.
Yeah.
That didn't catch me off guard. To sign Emmanuel Mosley and then go for David Montgomery, would have never guessed it. Phenomenal. Brad gets an A+ for me. Not overpaying Jamal Williams, rightfully so. We'll see what happens with Chark and the rest of the wide receiving class. I don't think they draft one early. I'm still vehemently against the idea of drafting a wide receiver in the first round, let alone Quentin Johnston. Look, you want to pitch me Jackson Smith and Jimba? He's a baller.
Yeah.
He's a baller, but I just don't see the Lions going for any of them in the first round. I don't think it's a priority. Give me a top 15 defense. I will guarantee you a top 10 offense this year. Go win 11, 12 football games, win your division. And let's see a football game at Ford Field in the playoffs, because I got news for all of you. It's never been done before. So,
playoffs.
one step at a time. Let's take a break. When we get back, mailbag time. Drop all of your questions in the chat. Jeff and I will get to all of them coming up in just a minute. But before we go, Jeff, please, our good friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency.
The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com for more information.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Hey there, Brendan Edwards, your favorite Wolverine here at Gardner White, the only local Michigan Detroit furniture store. I can see a couple of these in the house. Woodward Sports, Bracket Challenge. $1,000 cash too. Is that in here? It may not be in here, but you can find it at woodwardsports.com. Sign up today.
Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck is the home of the original football bowling game. 2 to play for $12, the unlimited open play, or you can pay $120 for a lane reservation up to 10 people. $2 mystery beer machine, full bar. Check it all out, fullingwarehouse.com.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show live. Mailbag time. Get to all of your questions. We'll start with Jordan Landfair. Name a player you believe was a great player that is forgotten in Detroit sports. Jeff, anybody come to your mind?
Great players
that are forgotten. Unsung heroes. It's not unsung heroes, right? We're talking about great players.
I wouldn't say, I guess, not forgotten, but DeAndre Levy, somebody that I think had some good years in Detroit that maybe doesn't get enough credit.
See, for me, like when I think of like forgotten quality players, I won't say great. Like for me, Daniel Cleary and what he meant for the Wings all those years.
Yeah.
I think he was an unsung hero. He's the first that comes to my mind.
It's like, how do you look at the question? Is it underrated guys or maybe guys that
I'm
were
not
great?
sure.
That
to be honest, Tayshaun Prince is a good one, guys.
Yeah.
That's a good comment.
It's another good one. Cliff Averill.
Cliff Averill was a stud in Detroit.
Robert Porcher. Yeah, there's some good with Dre Bly is another great one.
Dre Bly was good, never great, but
still underrated. I would say
underrated. To be honest, Marion Hossa had a few fantastic years here in Detroit. Or excuse me, it was just 1 year. I lied. Wasn't he here for 1 year? He came after losing to us. He came the year after, scored a shit ton of goals. We were the favorites, and then we lost to Pittsburgh in Game 7. Pretty sure that's what ended up happening. Placido Polanco, that's a great one, Broder. That is an excellent answer. Placido Polanco, absolutely.
What about this question? Benji says, Mailbag, if you were forced to pick, who would you take? Michael Mayer or Cyrus Torrance at 18? Tight end or guard?
Torrance.
Okay, you're taking a guard.
Yeah. I'm not taking a tight end in the first round, just like I'm not drafting a running back in the first round. I'm going to stick to my guns. Those are my rules. I'm never moving off of it.
I get it.
I don't care how good you are. You will never be as valuable as 3, 4, 5 other key positions that every team always needs. Sorry. Harsh truth. Stephen Tulloch is a good one. Billy Sims. You guys are messed up. You guys are messed up by dropping Ryan Broyles in here. It's not nice at all. Poor guy. Louis Delmas. That's a good name. Louis Delmas was a good safety for a few years. What Chinese basketball team, Jeff, will Killian Hayes be playing for next year?
That's messed
We haven't
up.
talked about the Pistons because they suck absolute balls. But, Jeff, I got to ask you, what do you think?
What is there to think? I talk about the Pistons at Woodward Pistons. You can check them out. Social media, me and Kool-Aid hold it down over there. But still, Killian Hayes, I don't know. We actually talked about Killian's future. You can check that out. Woodward Pistons, YouTube. We just talked about it yesterday. I won't give anything away. You can go check out my thoughts on it. But I'll give you a hint. I didn't mention he's playing in China. I'm sorry.
Not really an athlete.
Maybe.
I did
Maybe
not
not China. Maybe Shanghai.
Yeah, I could do a Shanghai.
Maybe Tokyo.
Oh,
maybe in Thailand.
Jordan says, who is your favorite player that other teams, cities, fans hated? Bill Lambier?
What do you mean?
Guys that you loved, but other cities hated. Maybe a guy that was, rep the city. I like Sue.
I don't
Bill
really
Lambier.
have one. It's a good question, but I don't really have one because I never loved Sue either.
Sue and Lambier. I mean, I liked them both.
Sue's rookie season, he was all pro, and after that, it was a mess. Rasheed Wallace probably is the one I'd put my arms around. I think everybody hated Rasheed, I wouldn't say people hated Ben. You had to fear and respect him. He was,
Like Bill Laimbeer, everybody hated, besides the people from Detroit. Because of
how
his
would
antics.
you feel? How mad would you be? Excuse me, says Salty, if the Lions took an offensive lineman at 6?
I would be,
meaning Peter Skronsky.
I would be so pissed because it just does. Like I don't know. Again, if we're talking about that window being open right now, you got to take the best defensive player or a quarterback. I'm sorry, like that. You don't take a guy like Peter Skronsky. I don't think it'd be a reach, but that's just not what the Lions are looking at right now. I'm sorry, I can't. Not at 6. At 18, Osiris Torrance you could talk me into, but at 6, come on, I'm good.
Man, you know what? Detroit Germ dropped the name Prince Fielder, and I don't know how I feel about Prince Fielder. I think he was a complete bust. I know he had a good year and a half, 2 years at most, but even the good years to me were busts. Him in Milwaukee, 55-plus home runs a year, was a menace, and he came to Detroit, and how he didn't take advantage of the ballpark is beyond me. It's beyond me. Mailbag, Jeff and Adam, what happens first, NBA All-Star or another Super Bowl downtown? I'll go NBA All-Star game here before a Super Bowl is ever hosted here.
Yeah, I would say that. Because
the NFL right now is 5, 10, 12, 15 years booked, in theory. They're going to always have new stadiums. They're always going to want to push them there. The Lions had their chance in, 2006, I believe? Once Ford Field was built in 2004, they finally hosted, I think, in 2006, so...
They got to come back to the city, though.
I don't think anytime soon. They don't have to, but sure. The Wiseman deal is looking better and better every day. Weaver got that one right. I would agree. Wiseman's looked very good. Very happy for him. But again, you can only have so many young players that are developing on a single team. I mean, what are we doing here? Like, either they need to pop and become quality NBA players, not just guys that were looking for progress. Pistons have a lot of work ahead of them, man. They really do.
Peter Van Lerhoven says, it's the highest-rated player, Jeff. Do you know the Lions draft board? Well, Peter, I'll tell you this. No, I don't know Brad Holmes' draft board, but what I do know is taking a tackle at 6 is stupid.
Yes.
It just is. But I'll give you some credit. You're right. Peter Skronsky is one of the highest players that are on anyone's draft board.
That's great. He can go fuck himself
But when
somewhere
Penei
else.
Sewell was drafted, you needed a tackle. Is your offensive line going to be that much worse if you don't take Peter Skronsky? No.
You have Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell. What are we talking about?
Evan Brown playing last year, and they were just fine. Take the best defensive player or a quarterback. Please. It makes the most sense. But who am I?
Mailbag. Will Dwayne Casey be fired at the end of the year? Asks Big Dan Davis. Well, Big Dan, not only do I think he will be, he should be. He's done. He's garbage. He was the best man for this job because this job has sucked for 4 years. The team has sucked for 4 years under his tutelage. They have no identity on offense or defense. And whether people like it or not, I don't like Dwayne Casey at all. Yes, I want him and expect him to get fired at the end of the season. Let's see what other questions we have. How much to watch you and Adam go for 30 seconds? Jeff, I don't think me and you would ever fight, so I don't think it's going to happen.
We fight about sports.
We should do a sparring match, though. It'd be kind of fun.
I'm down. I'll piece you up.
I'm down. I'm down to get pieced up. I don't give a shit.
Why? Just the way you said that.
My ego and pride, don't sit on that.
I'm down.
Who replaces Dwayne Casey? Anybody. Fletch could do it. And Fletch could do a better. Jeff could do a better job coaching the Pistons, to be honest with you.
No, I could not.
You could. You're underselling yourself considering how shit Dwayne Casey is. Which coach, lasts longer? The Lions or Red Wings coach? Red Wings. And that's not a shot at Dan Campbell. Different sport. The NFL, you will get fired if he wins 7 games this year. 100%. He wins 11, 12 games this year. He could still get fired 2 years removed from a division title if they don't win anything after that.
So I want to answer this before we go. Jonathan says, how does Jeff say we're trying to win now, but in the same breath says draft a quarterback? Well, let me explain. Your window is open right now, but it's not just about this window the next year. I'm thinking of the window for the next 5 years, Jonathan. And if you have a quarterback, then when Goff, it comes to pay him, and you don't want to pay him $45-50 million, you have a plan in place. So you don't have to be like the Jets and go chase someone like Aaron Rodgers and hope he comes to your football team. So I'm trying to think 5 years ahead. It's not just about 1 year of success. You want to have sustained success, and drafting a quarterback allows you to do that. But again, I would agree. The window is open right now, but I'm not going to say no quarterback, only defensive players. I think it's a little close-minded. And you have to think next year, if they win a bunch of games, tell me, how are you taking a quarterback? I'll wait at 23. Like, it's not happening. So, yeah. If you look at the odds, typically some of the best quarterbacks in the league, they go top 10. That's why I make the pitch. So, I'm sorry.
Again,
to get that out.
To me, you're drafting the 4th best quarterback on the board. You are.
Yeah, you're not forcing it. If Will Levis is there and you don't like him, you don't have to take him.
Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, when it came out, it was Deshaun Watson was considered 1, Mahomes 2 at the time. Trubisky was like 4th or 5th on that list. Trubisky went first, and then it was Mahomes, and then it was Watson. NFL always works out in weird ways. But that's an anomaly that 2 quality all-pro quarterbacks come out in the same draft. I believe the number is under 1 franchise quarterback per draft since the year 2000 on average. That's how many come out.
And Corey says Jeff Skronsky fits that same long-term argument. Not really, because if you look at the value of positions, quarterback is the most important position in football. You got to have a plan for that. Like Peter Skronsky, I'll worry about my tackles when I have to worry about them. I got 2 years with Decker, and who knows, you might even extend him if you have a rookie quarterback, by the way, which would be a cheap deal. You'll figure that out. But Penei Sewell, you assuming he'll be extended, I don't have to worry as much about a tackle as much as I'm going to worry about my franchise quarterback. Without Jared Goff, this thing doesn't run. Like, I'm sorry. So if you don't re-sign Goff, you got to have a plan in place. That's why I have to at least think about it. Think about drafting a quarterback.
Well, we got to go.
Not saying they have to, but you got to think about it.
I get it.
You have to.
We got to go. We'll continue the conversation tomorrow. Appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Make sure you're following us all over social media. Make sure you check out the show if you haven't watched all of it live yet. Make sure you go check us out on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review for Jeff's sexy hair. That's it for us today. Thank you guys so much for joining us as always. Till tomorrow, a Friday show. I can't wait. It's going to be fun. For Jeff and Adam, well, we're out of here.